Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Deb Slutmone. I'm going to be walking you through some tips and tricks in GP today. And I know you guys are all excited because the tips and tricks are always the ones that everybody wants to see. So hopefully everybody's at a good spot and can take lots of good notes on this, and we'll go ahead and get started. I think I've got Katie on with us as well, and Brandon and Cheryl are here. So guys, feel free to jump in. Because you know these sessions go pretty fast as we go through. I try to take the tips and tricks almost like a module at a time, just so you guys know. So if you're saying, oh, we're going to spend all of our time here or here, just know that I'm going to almost go each module, and hopefully we don't run out of time, okay? I want to show you a few of my favorite things, so that way maybe they become your new favorite things. So let's start with some easy ones. And you can see I've got my GP in front of everyone. And I'm going to start with probably one that people are always saying, how'd you do that? Or, oh, I forgot about that. Okay. And again, remember, these are tips and tricks. You guys, if you have some good fun ones, add them into the question pane too for me, will you? Or into the raise your hand spot. I think everybody can add in either questions or information. Or in the chat area. If you've got some things that you want to share, add them in. If we've got enough time at the end, I'll actually open it up. And you guys, I know you guys do this more than me, so kind of keep in mind that your tips, you might say, oh, I'm sure everybody knows that. You know what? It's probably the one thing that's going to really brighten someone's day. So be thinking about those, okay? So don't forget about your question area. So if you want to ask something, if you want to share, add it into your question side or into the chat side, okay? And we'll be monitoring both of those. So guys, let's go ahead. Let's get started with some favorites. But here's one of my absolute favorites, okay? And this is probably one that people ask me the most. Okay, here's my checkbook. You know, we all have to keep an eye on that checkbook, right? Did you know if you use your file, add to shortcuts, okay? If you notice right here under file, add to shortcuts, you're going to see now my checkbook is right here, okay? So if I'm looking at that checkbook, I can go one click right in. If I want to rename that, I can right click on that guy and, oops, sorry guys, that was a left click. If I right click on it, I can go down to my shortcut properties. And when I'm on my shortcut properties, if you notice here, I can add that keyboard shortcut. I know I'm old, I use some keyboard shortcuts, I will tell you, but if I want, I can go ahead and put that to F2. I can change it so it just says checkbook, okay? And I can say okay there. And now, if I hit my F2 key, that window's up in front of me, okay? And I can do a quick scroll through, check out the banks. Oh, probably got to do some reconciling there, guys, right? And I can go ahead and take a quick look at those. Remember, my F2 could come up at any point, so I don't have to clear all my screen, clear all my windows. I can go ahead and quick and easy use it on my navigation pane. Now, if you're like me, I'm typically in financial, I'm in purchasing, AP. If you notice here, I can still hit my F2, up it comes for me, okay? So don't forget about that one. That's a nice, easy one. Do that with some of your popular windows because it's, you know, a vendor's on your phone, you want that quick lookup. Go ahead, bring that window, same thing, using your file button. And after you use your file button, use your add shortcuts, okay? Really easy to work with. So guys, remember that just put it on your home button. From there, you can do whatever you want with it, add macros, putting in spreadsheets, all that kind of fun. But that's kind of one, and I'm not really keeping track of all these, so hopefully you guys are keeping track for me, okay? Now, the other one that I want to show you is up here. You would be surprised how many times I go to a customer, and when they want to go to SmartList, they drive the super long way to go to SmartList, okay? You with me? And instead of having to do that, turn on the standard palette. So if you right click and go ahead and turn on standard, see mine's turned on, my check mark's there, right? But if it's off, now the only way I can get to SmartList is, oh my gosh, it's the long hard way, right? So just right click on your menus, okay? And then go down, turn on standard. If that's not on for you today, put that as number one on your list. Go back, turn that guy on, and you'll be amazed at how many times you go right to your SmartList, okay? So there's my SmartList, okay? You guys see how he's nice right in front of me there? And there's other things on my menu that I might want to talk about as far as if you guys haven't seen these. Your task list here, your reminders are here. Oh, and if you're not using your reminders, we can hardly even have this conversation because reminders are so fun, okay? Or my reports. You guys probably haven't even looked at my reports. And again, one button here. So let's talk about a few of those. Again, remember, we're going to try to hit each module in the next 22 minutes. So we got to kind of be moving fast. But when I'm using my smart list, okay, key here in this white space, right click, okay, try to get my smart list to cooperate. If I'm going to right click in there, I have my increase with, decrease with. So some of you that don't have a good way of saying, oh, it's just like so close, don't forget that one. At the same time, if your smart list is always like this, right, and drives you crazy because you can't see all of your folders, remember up underneath my smart list and my options, my favorites pane, look at hide show favorites pane. I want to turn that off. So I want to always have mine show. If you've got a check mark and it drives you crazy, turn that off. Turn off your enable auto hide because you really want to be able to see these and work with them right here. Okay, and then again, if you need that right click, increase with. Now, one thing, remember, if you're working on a smart list and it's not building for you, keep in mind that if you've got a report waiting to generate, you know what I'm saying, you ran your first page of your accounts receivable trial balance and your second page, you know, that second report that comes, that summary one, that one hasn't printed yet, your smart list is not going to generate till that extra report is done generating, okay? So if it's sitting down here and it's not doing anything, usually you've got a screen print somewhere that's giving you grades, okay? Now, when I'm here, remember too, my count, my 1,000, if I double click here, it's going to bring up my search window. So you don't have to always go up to your search at the top. You can do it right from down here at the bottom. Always keep an eye on it because if you are running into a 1,000 line limit, you want to remember that you might not be seeing all the data. Same time if I'm dropping to Excel, I want to make sure that I'm going across to Excel with all that data before I start that process of getting to Excel, okay? So I can't even tell you now what number we're on, but keep in mind that all I did to get my search window, and I know you guys are all thinking, well, I can go to search way at the top, but if you've ever had that search window, you know what I mean. You might want to just use your double click down here. It brings it up just as fast, okay? The other one thing that I'll show you here is if I'm looking for a date field, okay, I can use my type here and I can group all of my dates right together. So I don't have to always go, okay, what was that field name called? I know it's a date, okay, click on your type and go to date, okay? Then, favorite thing ever is using the field compare. If there's another date field that I want to compare to, okay, I can go ahead and see all of my date fields, but I also want to remember that I have more columns that I haven't been able to see. Wow, there's all my columns. There's my document date, okay, or my created date. So I want to see where these two don't equal, okay? Super simple, transaction date, created date, and then I can probably also use my transaction date. I can just type that in, is greater than or between, and I can really narrow in that search. So I can use this portion and this portion together, okay? Using my one or match all down here also makes a difference depending upon what kind of smart list we're wanting. So don't forget that there's lots of options here as well. So I'm going to say okay on that one. I'm probably not going to get too much here, so we're just going to see what we get. Yeah, I got to complete it down here, guys. But don't forget my key there, what I was trying to really show you is that field compare. Because a lot of times, depending upon the smart list you're on, you're like, okay, I want to know when this doesn't match with this, okay? That's it, those two pieces. And that really, that field compare does a lot of the lifting for you. Okay, so we've talked about a couple in smart list. We've talked about adding it, just a quick shortcut. But remember when I talked about this reminder up here at the top? Have you guys all been able to quick and easy make reminders? Because you know what? Reminders can take many shapes. There's a lot of pre-built in reminders, but reminders can also come from smart lists. So if you're making a smart list and you want to know things like average days to pay and you know when my receivables is, a lot of these are just pre-built in my bad test data here. But to change them, okay, and you might say, oh, I don't want all of these. You can come into your custom reminders and you can go ahead and you can modify them or you can remove them out. So sometimes people are like, oh, I don't want to see overdue invoices here. And I like the queues, don't get me wrong, but I just don't want to see them at this one. But this one does give me the reminding me after a due date, okay? So kind of a nice part there. Keep in mind here, I can go ahead and make a new reminder, and I can do it from here using a SmartList favorite that's already made. So if you have SmartList like that average days to pay, which is one of my favorites, okay, it's pre-built. I can come into average days to pay, and I can tell it to show me anytime when average days to pay is greater than, okay, so I can tell it to total, okay, I can tell it to do a count, okay, and I can actually set that one up so it tells me on that column, so my average days to pay is not set up that great, guys, sorry, but you can see how you get added in easy, quick rate from here. So let's go back and take a look at our reminders from this level, and sorry guys, I'm going to take us back to on our overall navigation pane here with my customize. So hopefully you guys can all see that customize. So you can see my to-dos are there, my reminder button here again, and I'm going to bring those back up so you can see them. If you haven't started using your tasks, those are kind of fun too because it can let a user go right to a window. So if you've got some new users, you can assign some tasks to them and put them to that window level. Okay, I'm going to say okay here and just let that one build in again. So now you can see my reminders here because I had mine turned off there for a minute to try to keep my screen a little bit cleaner with just my customize button. Some people like a really clean desk. I know my team is probably laughing hysterically because my desk is never clean. But here it can tell me right away my total amount of things that are past due, total amount of aging as far as total for accounts receivable. What's my balance, my 30, 60, 90? Okay, on some of those, if you say to yourself, wow, if I could just keep an eye on that number every day, well, that's what those reminders are really doing. So when you look at your smart list, and you can do this with any smart list, and you're coming in, and I'm going to do a quick past due customers. This one's just showing me my totals here, okay? Now, if I use my favorite button, and you don't want to do this with every smart list you have, so kind of keep that in mind, okay? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add it, but I'm going to add it with that favorite and reminder, okay? Oh, it tells me it already exists, so let me just do it too here. Sorry, guys. That's where that other screen comes in handy because it already knows that that one's a smart list and you don't have to make a second one, but this one works just as well, okay? So my favorite here is the totaling because I want to total the current transaction amount because this is really going to tell me exactly with a quick glance. So I'm going to say total the current transaction amount, and I can even have it display maybe when it gets over $1 million, over 500,000. So maybe that's my key that I say, okay, only show me at this point. But for me, I'm going to say, show me anytime it's greater than 0. Okay, and I'm going to say, okay there. And I could do that with a lot of mine because remember, it was pretty easy to do. I could look at, show me what my current balance is on my today's sales because, you know, I'm always looking for sales and for revenue. So I could go ahead and again, I could say, just going to add a different name here. So don't let that throw you. And I'm going to add, and remember you're visible too. You might want to make these just visible to you. And I'm going to say total again. I'm going to total that sale amount. And I'm going to say anytime it's greater than or not equal to 0. So it shows on my screen. So if I had a lot of returns, I could see them as well. Okay, so we added a couple quick favorites to our reminders. Now let's refresh our home page. So however you like to refresh your home page, whether you use your refresh button at the top, you just click on your home button, okay? It should bring up our today's sales, which this was my new one I just made, and you can see there it is. It shows us our today's sales are 371. So if that's a number that you want to watch like all the time, but you don't want to have to run that report or run these 5 things, try a quick reminder because you can again, okay, 371, great day, huge day. Now I can click on it and again get that immediate level of data, depending upon the smart list. Remember, your smart list has to be good behind it too. Same time, our past due with customer transactions. Oh, that 2602, I'm watching that one really close. and I probably better send this over to collection. So again, I'm going to click on it. I'm going to use my sorting here to tell me who's got the most, and I'm going to double click on this one and send this one right over to be worked on, okay? So you can see right there, I'm getting all that information. Plus, if I use my go-to here, I can drill right back to that customer maintenance, guys. I don't have to go just to that standard double click. Then from here, I can go ahead and I can see that phone number, and oh, I don't have a phone number for this guy. Oh boy, I wonder if I've got an email. Don't forget to be tracking those emails and getting those emails in, because they can help you. Even by clicking 2 here, I could pop my email up or my email button there. So I'm sure most of these things are pretty basic and you guys are all really good at them, but take them in stride and definitely be expanding what you guys are doing in your system. Be looking at different spots. Now, I'm not seeing any questions come in, so hopefully you guys are all catching all of these and getting a few tips and tricks as we go through. Okay, so we've talked about a couple on just the home page navigation. And I bet most of you have this one down, but if you're like me, I probably run that trial balance, you know, whether it's an AR trial balance, an AP trial balance. I'm going to go ahead and just create a quick new option here. And typically I try to make good options, just so you know, but again, remember my messy desk. So on these, since I'm going to put them into my report, I'm going to put them into beginning of previous period and end of previous period, so it knows which one I'm going to do. And I'm just going to insert that range. So here, and then I'm going to go ahead and say destination, screen. And now I could hit my print and print it one time, or I can go ahead and put it into my report. And I'm going to say previous month, GL trial balance. Okay, now watch this, guys. I'm going to say okay here. I'm going to save here. Now remember that my reports that I had you put up here, now what you're going to see is there's my detailed trial balance for the previous month. You can do this with every report that has that report option in my reports, and it also will come into your my reports over here when I refresh my home page. So you can have it at a couple places. The nice thing about that one is it's now one click to get that report versus multiple clicks to get that same report for the past month. So when you think of your multi-step things that you do at month end, right? If you could do this type of thing for every process, guess how much easier it is to reconcile and to get the month end process really done, okay? Okay, so now remember, guys, I told you we were going to try to hit one for every module, so we got to pick it up because we're down to 10 minutes left and our time is just, I don't know where our time goes, okay? On the general ledger, let's talk about your general ledger entry. I know you guys are all really good with copy paste. If you haven't started using your copy paste, shoot me an email. I will show you exactly how to do that process. It does not have to be anywhere in an Excel spreadsheet. It can be just 4 boxes together and you can copy paste to get it started. If you haven't started doing that one, do that one right away. At the same time, you can use your correct button to do a backout or a backout and create a correcting entry. I can't tell you when I have backward days how many times I use this one, so definitely use that one, okay? If you haven't started using some of your doc attach, I will tell you general ledger entries are probably my key place to use my doc attach. When you want to add in all those work papers, add in things that you want to have as attachments, you're not limited just to one. And again, I could spend an entire time with you on doc attach, but get your doc attach going, because not that you want to put every single, not that you want to put every single document you have into doc attach, because your IT people will be hunting me down. You definitely want to be able to get your pieces in here. They're going to make those, you know, when the auditors are there and they want to know why did you make an entry? Well, not only do I have good sets of notes, but I also have my Excel spreadsheets that I made that entry with. Okay, you can do that with your reclasses from your credit cards, all of those things that just make life easier when you need that detail instead of having to go back and find a file. Same time, don't forget your reference here. This field is a nice searchable field for general ledger or for smart lists. So keep in mind that you have a reference here, but you also have another reference down here at the GL line that you can pull onto those trial balances. Okay, so lots of fun on the GL, but to keep things moving, I also want to hit a couple more windows as far as our payables transaction entry. And guys, I know all of you are really good at this window, and there's so many things here that I could talk about. But the big thing is, if you're not checking for the document IDs to make sure that the document number hasn't been reused, definitely think about that one, get that one turned on. It can save you some duplicate invoices, and that's just on the setup, okay? At the same time, we're almost to 1099 season again, guys. If you haven't started mastering your 1099 amounts, do that now. Be looking at your 1099s, run your smart list, run your email campaigns through smart list, getting those things done, setting up your ACH to be able to get my vendor going. To be able to ACH a vendor now is easier than ever, okay? I have no vendor set up for, or no payables already pre-existing, so sorry about that, guys. But on this one, to set up ACH, remember, these are out of the box. You have them both on vendors and receivables. You can send the file to the bank almost as easy as you do direct deposit for payroll, okay? But you just set up an easy EFT bank, and I'm going to tell you guys, this one is so simple to do. Instead of none, you just go ahead and you pick your US option, and really in here, I need just a few numbers. Don't be intimidated by all the pieces, okay? If you haven't started to do this and you want to do this, call me. I will walk you through this. It is so easy to get done. If you have the information, start collecting it, because you can get vendors going very easily on paying them with ACH and really save yourself tons of money on envelopes and stamps, okay? That one, again, out of the box, okay? I'm going to delete my payable one out here for just a second. Remember, you have that one on the sales side as well. And a couple ones here on the sales side. When we're looking at our transaction by customer, anything on this window, guys, when you're moving through and looking at your customers, one thing that I always do is uncheck that history, redisplay. If you don't have history, remember your pay transaction removal. Remember how to run that. I know everybody is scared to death to run that, but what happens is everything sits in open until you actually run that step. And you want to, some customers do it daily, some do it monthly. But what it's going to do is it's going to move those things that are fully paid, fully applied, fully posted. You know, it's not going to move anything that's not done. It's going to move it to history, and it's going to clean up so many pieces for you. And again, that one's underneath tools, routines, sales, and pay transaction removal. If you are a chicken, and I will tell you, I go by good chicken rules, you can go ahead and you can run this one. Just watch your cutoff dates if you ever have any NSF checks or checks that you may want to say, hey, I've misapplied that. Watch those 2 dates. Otherwise, you're going to see this big pop-up come up that's going to say, remove transactions. Right here is where most people say, nope, can't do it, too scared, right? Go ahead, remove those transactions. It's moving them to history, and now your reports, your windows are going to be much cleaner, much easier to use. So guys, I'm just going to remind you guys quick, we're down to a few minutes remaining, but if you want to go ahead and enter in questions into the question pane, I definitely can take questions here for a few minutes as well, okay? So far we've looked at a couple things in AP, a couple things on AR, a couple things that you might not even know that you can do, especially some of you that may need to do just a quick invoice, but you hate doing a whole SOP document or a whole invoice entry. You can actually do a one-line, I got a batch of rents I need to do. I'm just going to do a quick one-line. I'm going to put in my rent cost. Okay, do all my GL like I normally would do. Okay, everything happening there. But guys, now I can put that into a recurring batch because I can have recurring batches at this level. Now it's not multi-line, so don't be thinking multi-line here. Think single. Probably better make it recurring since I just told you guys I was doing that. Okay, now what's going to happen with this guy, he's a recurring invoice. I can print a beautiful invoice from here as well. Okay, and you guys probably didn't even know you could print from here. So you can see how beautiful that invoice is. But the great part about this invoice is it's actually reoccurring. But remember what I said, it's a one-line invoice, but now that I've got it into my Word template, I can do whatever I need to do here. So I'm billing out October, November, December. Oh, I know, sorry, beautiful typing. Okay, and I can update that. And now, if I want, I can even use my email button and email from here. Okay, so just some fun, simple little things that might make your day a little bit easier. Another really good one, and you guys probably seen that I had done a webinar on this one a while back, and there's probably a lovely recording to go along, but if you haven't started using your SafePay, definitely now is a good time to start with your SafePay too, okay? So SafePay is your positive pay. It's part of your package, okay? And what you're gonna see is I'm way over here, tools, routines, financial, SafePay. This seriously will take you a half hour tops to get set up and start processing. And again, you can sleep a little bit better at night because you'll know you'll get that exception reporting coming from your bank. When somebody tries to cash one of those fraudulent checks, a double payment, a double check, you know what I mean? There's so many good things about using SafePay. It comes with your package. It is an easy process to get set up and get running. And from there, again, you're sending that file right to the bank, okay? Now guys, I know we're almost out of time, and I apologize. I wanted to get a few more tips and tricks in around payroll. But for those of you that don't use payroll, remember you still have the complete employee card available to you. What that means is even though you don't want to run payroll, nobody wants to run payroll unless you have to, but you may want to track the property that Pilar has been given. I can come in here easily and start setting up her property, her keys, her company car, her computer, her mouse, her all the stuff that she has that maybe one day I need to make sure, okay, I've got those back. Where are those? Okay, property, any of the HR items, you don't have to set up all of HR. You don't have to set up everything on an employee and everything under payroll to be able to use a lot of these really good features, including tracking that emergency contact, you know, any training that you might want to offer and make sure that they attend, things like that. These are, again, part of your package. So if you haven't checked out some of these, definitely, you know, take these back, take a look, see what you think. Let us know if there's more that you want webinars on, more that you want to see. And guys, I know I've got a couple questions over here in the question pane. And I see it's coming from one of our good attendees asking, what's your favorite tip for new users? Oh, wow, that's a great question. Thanks for asking. What's my favorite tip for new users? I think the thing that I'm going to tell you, probably the biggest thing is make sure that you have a test company and go in and try things. Don't be afraid of them. Go in and try, okay, I'm going to do that transaction and I really don't know, you know, how it's going to turn out. Follow it all the way through, okay? You're doing a quick test. Oh, sorry guys, I'm doing it unbilled here. And I'm just going to go all the way across to my journal entry. Sorry, I've got my key to act going here at the same time, so forgive me. But I can go ahead and do that transaction like I was doing it in my live company, and then go ahead, hit my post, follow the transaction. Take a look at it in the GL. Take a look at it from all angles. What happened to it in the subledger? Another thing is make sure that when you are doing transactions, again, that effect between subledgers, am I throwing something off, right? Using your routines, financial, and reconcile to GL. And I know this one, I'm telling you guys, I know we do this one all the time. So if some of you are going, oh my gosh, haven't gotten anything, reconcile to GL. This one, if you haven't started doing this one, banks, inventory, receivables, it's gonna show you where you're off. So if you're really struggling with things being off, definitely that is one of my favorite things, especially for new users, and understanding, you know, that flow of how things are really working in our system. Okay, one last tip for all of you, since I know there's still a few questions coming in. Thank you for those of you that are asking questions. I appreciate it. But one thing in Management Reporter, you know how much we all love Management Reporter. I will tell you, this is the hardest one for me to get people to start with, but I'm going to show you the trick, okay? And if you notice up here, my magic wand, exactly what it is. It's the report wizard. It's going to come in. I know I shouldn't show you guys this one because, you know, you're not going to need me anymore, but you can tell it what you want to start with, okay? Where the accounts are coming from. So I'm just going to do a quick, easy income statement. say next here. I'm telling it what accounts, which ones I want to add, okay, which section I want to put them in. And when you get all done, you will actually have, I'm just going to switch over here to do a trial balance. Okay, give it a great description. Tell it which year you want to run your report for, because it's actually going to generate. And now this is going to make a complete trial balance for me without me doing any work. I'm just going to call it NR just so you guys get that one. And okay, and it's generating behind the scenes. So if you haven't tried that one, oh, sorry guys, no data. Can you believe it on my great sample data? Forgive me on that one. But if you haven't tried that one, go ahead and try that one. I know there's probably a few more questions here in the question pane. And definitely, you guys, if you need to email me some questions, definitely do that as well. You can always reach me at deb@iscorp.biz. Same time, oh, take that back. Maybe my report wasn't done generating quite yet. Oh, well, look, guys, here is my report. Not promising anything on my detail yet because, oh, there it is. You know, I know it's not as beautiful, but okay, it just gives you a good base to start from. Okay, oh, I'm sorry, guys, I missed a question. I can't get my homepage to stick to the way that I customized it. Why? Well, let's see what we could be doing wrong on that homepage. And I think on this one, as I go back, a couple of things that you might want to look at is when you're up on your lock toolbars, make sure that your toolbars are staying locked, okay? So as you unlock them to move them around, that can be causing grief in other spots, because you can see how I can, you know, really make this toolbar take up some of my screen, and I think that really has an impact on it. So once you get your toolbars the way you like them, okay, make sure you go ahead and lock, and then see if that isn't helping the rest of your home page as well, okay? Okay, so guys, I apologize. We went a few minutes over. Everyone, thanks so much for hanging out with us today and hopefully getting a tip or two. We welcome your feedback. So I might put a quick poll out there for those of you guys that are still on, and thank you so much, everyone, for jumping in with us here. And see if I can get one going. Oh, guys, I tell you what, we don't have any polls preset for this one, so forgive me, but give us some feedback. I know Katie and Chelsea both love to hear ideas for future webinars. They also welcome anything that you can tell us about, you know, do you like the timing? Do you like the frequency? Things that you like about the recordings, things that Deb doesn't like about the recordings. Thanks so much, everyone. Don't forget about GPUC. It's coming right around the corner. So GPUC in November, if you don't know about our Great Plains User Conference, 3 full days, fun-filled, tons of learning, tons of networking. Come hang out at the Fargo campus with us. Again, 3 days, November. Email Chelsea, Katie. They will definitely tell you more, or myself, Deb, at iscorp.biz. Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your day, and come hang out with us again next week. I know they've got much more planned for us for webinars. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.